Chào mừng mọi người đến với Vela Podcast. Đây là một podcast chuyên chia sẻ về những vấn đề quanh việc du học, học tập và cuộc sống tại nước ngoài của các du học sinh, đồng thời là cựu học sinh tại Vela. Mục đích của podcast là cung cấp những thông tin thực tế nhất đến các bạn đang quan tâm đến việc du học để các bạn có cái nhìn khách quan hơn và chuẩn bị cho hành trình du học của riêng mình. Podcast sẽ được phát hành 9 giờ tối thứ Hai và thứ Sáu hàng tuần. Nếu các bạn có bất kỳ câu hỏi nào cần Vela giải đáp, hãy điền thông tin vào form trong phần mô tả nhé. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến phần 2 của tập podcast chia sẻ về Đại học Mount Holyoke cùng cô Amy Markham. Và trong phần 2 này chúng ta sẽ tiếp tục câu chuyện về những cái chương trình học tập và các chương trình nghiên cứu hiện có tại trường hỗ trợ cho học sinh undergraduate. Và ngoài ra cô sẽ chia sẻ với các bạn những tips giúp các bạn cải thiện hồ sơ của mình trong quá trình nộp và những lưu ý mà cô nhìn thấy được từ lỗi sai của các bạn học sinh đã apply. Và hy vọng là phần 2 này sẽ giúp cho hành trình nộp hồ sơ của các bạn trở nên dễ dàng và thuận tiện hơn, cũng như cho các bạn những cái insights về việc xét tuyển hồ sơ của các nhà tuyển sinh từ các trường đại học tại Mỹ.
So, talking about the research program besides some like preparing for the career, what are some available research programs right now that Mount Holyoke really like open for undergraduate students so that they can work or collaborate with their professor?
So, it isn't so much that there are specific programs as much as professors, because their projects are always changing. You know, they may complete one and start another one. So our professors will, if they're working on a new project, they will tell people in their classes what they have coming up and let them know what they're interested in having student support with. So students are often, when a faculty member writes a book or presents a paper or does a research work, our students are often indicated as being among those who helped with that project. But sometimes what happens is that research, in fact, I would say this is probably a little more common, is that the research happens at the student initiative. So a student is taking a class and says, oh, this thing that we're studying is so fascinating, it makes me wonder about something else that's maybe related to that. And they will say to their professor, can you help me do an independent research project on this topic? And so some of our students will be here during the weeks in the winter that the college is closed, but they may be working on research projects under faculty supervision then, or during the summer. They may stay for an entire summer to do that. So sometimes they're researching with faculty on faculty projects, and other times they're researching on their own with faculty guidance or in collaboration with other students. And because we are part of a consortium with 4 other area colleges and universities, sometimes students are doing research projects on the other campuses as well, which include the University of Massachusetts, Amherst College, Hampshire College, and Smith Colleges.
So that's pretty many activities for students who are really interested in developing their researching skill. So this beyond like studying in class, I mean like outside the class, I want to talk about like the student activities and how students engage with each other outside the class. So what are some of the popular student clubs and organizations at Mount Holyoke, right?
So our students are very collaborative with each other. So there's everything from performing arts to journalism, student government, sports, recreational sports, yoga, meditation, cultural organizations that they will do with each other. And because we're part of the 5 college consortium, which are with those other 4 colleges that I just mentioned, our students can get involved in the clubs and activities on those campuses as well. So we have about 150 clubs and activities at Mount Holyoke, and within the 5 college consortium, there's 700. So there's just so many different things that a student can do. And again, there's the free bus service that connects all of our campuses, so that it's really quite easy to get to any of these different campuses. And because of our location not being in a city, you don't have to worry about traffic when you go to any of these places. So the farthest campus away from us is about 15 kilometers away from Mount Holyoke. So it really doesn't take that long to get to any of these places, especially since we really don't have traffic jams.
That's nice to hear about like how collaborative and how easy it is to attending clubs and organizations to develop their self and their skill, like while studying at Mount Holyoke. Okay, so I think that coming to the final part of today's podcast is about the application process to Mount Holyoke. First question, I think this is pretty important. It's have students to prepare better for their application and their everything they prepare right now. So what personality traits and characteristic that Mount Holyoke is looking for in their prospective students?
So the most important thing is that they're good students. So, somebody who has really achieved very strong grades throughout their high school. And one thing I will mention is that in the U.S. application process, generally, we want your 3 previous full years of schooling presented as well as your current year. So that does go back to your middle school or junior school, the final year there. And so, again, just somebody who has been a very strong student throughout high school and who has very strong English proficiency skills. So our average IELTS score is about a 7.5 in the overall result. And I can give you TOEFL and Duolingo as well, but I generally see IELTS results coming from Vietnam more than the other scores. But for TOEFL, it would be around 104, 105, and Duolingo English test around 130. So those are our averages. But in terms of personal qualities, the kinds of things that we are looking for is really evidence that somebody is a good fit for Mount Holyoke and is somebody who would really be able to take advantage of what we have to offer here. So the way that we try to assess those things is, one, by looking at what any of your involvement has been outside the classroom. So we like to see that you have some interests that are things that we offer on our campus that you would hopefully continue with when you're here, or that maybe you do something that we don't have here at all, but you'd like to get that started at Mount Holyoke. So every year new clubs are developed because there's someone who comes and says, I want to offer this. So that's very, very much something that is possible. And so we just like to see that you do more than study. So maybe it's only 1 or 2 activities that you've had, but you've invested in them and they've been important to you. That's fine. In fact, in some ways, I would like that better than someone who fills all 10 spaces on the application, but that you can tell that there really hasn't been much involvement, or that maybe they did it just to fill up each space on the application. But if you've really been committed to a couple of things, that's great. That's absolutely fine. And I think most of my colleagues at other colleges and universities would agree with that. We're also looking to see that you know yourself pretty well. So how do we figure that out? I find that the essay is a really good way to learn about that. And to me, the best essays are the ones where a student tells us what the thing is that they want us to know, but they spend more of their time writing about why that was important to them and what the impact that had on their lives. Maybe how they're different as a result of that experience, or how their perspective changed. So we call that reflection. So you're really not just telling the details of a story, but you're bringing us into why that was the thing that you wrote to us about. Why was that so meaningful to you? So that kind of reflection and self-awareness usually suggests that those students, they're going to be students who are going to bring that kind of thoughtfulness to the classroom and to their relationships with other students as well, instead of just telling the details of something that they did. And then in the letters of recommendation, one of the things that is really valuable to us is if a teacher says that the student is somebody who really enjoys learning, or when they write a paper, they can see from the topic of the paper that the student is doing more than just executing the minimum of the assignment to get a high grade, but that they're really thinking about the material. Our classes at Mount Holyoke oftentimes depend quite a lot on the participation of the students and students sharing opinions and perspectives. And so when we see in letters of recommendation that you're someone who is thinking on a deeper level rather than just memorizing answers to get a correct result, that's the kind of quality that we think really makes the classroom very interesting.
I see. Also, that's pretty much about the personality trait and like their personal thing, like the branding image of individual who apply to Mount Holyoke. And my last question is like, what are some scholarship programs and that Mount Holyoke College is granting for outstanding students, and how are they qualified for those scholarships?
So Mount Holyoke offers financial aid and academic scholarships. Are you asking specifically about the academic scholarships or both financial aid and the scholarships?
So for the academic scholarship, is it like you take GPA or any other programs?
Okay, so I'll address just the academic scholarships then. So we are looking primarily at the academic performance for those, which is not surprising. And so we look at the grades in school. We also look at what the teachers have to say about the students, how reflective and self-aware the essays are. So it's all of those things put together. And we are a test optional college, so SAT and ACT results are optional. So if you don't submit your test, that does not have an impact on whether or not you could earn a scholarship. We will give our scholarships either way, whether you submit those or not. If you do submit them, they might enhance your chance if you have a high score. If your score is more just around our average, that won't hurt your chances. It just won't enhance your opportunity. And we base our scholarship decisions on your admission application. So there's nothing special that you need to do in order to be considered. As we read our applications and decide who we want to admit, we make note of the students that we think might be good scholarship candidates, and then we make final assignments of the scholarships after we complete that process. So you don't need to, if you're admitted, you're automatically considered for a scholarship.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, I think to close today's podcast, do you have any advice or any messages that you want to send to our Vietnamese audience, or what you want to talk to our Vietnamese audience as well?
Yes, I would say it's probably something that I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, and that is with the activity list. Really, if you feel like you are working very hard to think of things to fill all 10 spaces, please don't. It's better to have fewer that are real than to be really, really stretching to come up with something to fill up all 10 spaces. So just don't think that it's going to be a negative if you don't have something on every line. We're more interested that you have invested in a few things rather than just shown up for a couple of meetings one year for an organization in order to have an extra thing to put on your list. So that would be my advice. And the other thing I would say also with your essay, just really make sure that your essay tells us about you more than it tells us about something that happened to you. So focus less on the details and more on impact on yourself. Those are my pieces of advice.
Thank you so much for your advice. I know that this advice will help students to prepare their application better and know what to work on and what to be aware of. And thank you so much for coming today to contribute to our podcast and let our audience know more about your college as well. So I hope that I can have chance to talk to you in the upcoming future events. And I hope that you have a great day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I wish everybody good luck in your university search process. Thank you.